back to another episode of the Disney Resorts Podcast. My name's Kenny Hayes, and I am joined alongside, as always, by the one, the only, Walt Ramirez.
Hey, Ken, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I am happy to be back in the studio with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. So we apologize, folks. We know we missed our last scheduled show. I fell a little bit under the weather, but lo and behold, I'm here. Everything's good.
We're alive.
We're alive, yes. So we're back, and we have a good show in front of you for today. Annual passes have returned to Walt Disney World. Walter and I are going to give our thoughts on that, and maybe I could convince Walter to return now. He can return. We got some DVC. Yeah, well, we could try. We actually have some DVC news. Is a DVC coming to a moderate resort near you? Interesting. This just came out in the DVC world. Walter and I will get into it. You're not going to want to miss that. Then we are going to talk about Walter's most recent trip to Walt Disney World, where he had, I would say, a lot of dining going on and a couple first times for Walter. He's going to give us his review of the Toledo, right? Did I say it right?
That's correct. Toledo.
All right.
Yes.
It's Toledo. The Toledo restaurant, way on top of the new Grand Destino Tower located at Disney's Coronado Springs. I am excited to hear about that. Then, it was only several days it was open. Walter and his wife dined at Woody's Roundup BBQ over at Hollywood Studios. We're going to give his thoughts, insight, and review on that as well. And then before we wrap up this week's show, Walter and our special guest, Deni Sunderlys, did an on-site review of Karamell Kuche, I think I said that right, over in the Germany Pavilion. A lot of sweet treats, and we hope you enjoy it. So make sure you stick around and check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. And before we begin, as always, if you're watching us over on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and as Walter always says, share with a couple friends. With that, Walt, annual passes have returned.
Yes, they have. Aren't we lucky?
The listeners want to know, is Walter returning? No.
We're still gonna. No, not yet. We'll have to see if they ever put them on sale. Maybe, but
Maybe
the $100 increase for the ones I'm eligible to purchase will definitely keep me away.
Yeah. So if you are on the fence or you wanted to be an annual pass holder over the last several years, they are now available. I will give their new names and prices right now. The Incredipass goes for $1,399 per person. That is available to everyone, whether you are whatever state, country, you want it, you got it. The next in line is the Sorcerer Pass, coming in at $969 per person. They are offered to DVC members and Florida residents only. That is the one I currently have. So, and now the one difference is DVC pays the same price as the Floridians do. The only difference is Floridians can pay over 12 months, where even if you're DVC, you still have to pay that full price up front. So it's a perk. You get to play the Floridian rate, but you do not get the, to span it out over a 12-month period. The Pirate Pass then coming in at $749. That is for Florida residents only. And rounding up the APs, the Pixie Dust Pass, which has the most restrictions, and I believe it's also weekend restrictions as well. That is $399 and for Florida residents only. So, Walt, like you said, there was a $100 increase. Were you shocked they finally opened it up?
Not really. I expected them at some point this year to do it just because of the demand. But, it's a long time coming, in my opinion. I thought they should have done this a while ago. The one thing you did mention earlier about the monthly payments for the Florida residents, that's actually a phenomenal deal because it's 0% APR.
Wow.
For the entire 12 months. Now, I don't know what bank is backing it. I don't know if it's the bank down there in Florida, the Sun Trust, or whoever the bank is down there. But That's a great deal for people who might not be able to afford the entire thing and can still pay it off over the course of 12 months at no interest. That's definitely, you said it's a perk. That is definitely a perk.
Yep.
Wish they would extend that perk to the non-Florida residents.
Right here.
But that's it doesn't surprise me that they don't.
Yeah, I wasn't that shocked either, Walt. But like you and I said though, like all those stuff that came in right after the new year, and we felt that it wasn't enough. Like we were happy that they made some changes. They were moving in the right direction, like with resort parking and whatnot. But the annual passes stayed frozen. And I don't know if this was a plan altogether or it finally got to that time where it was like, listen, you have no choice. They're ready to I was gonna say something else. I want to say that. They were ready to barge into Magic Kingdom and I want my pass.
Yeah, there was a definite demand for it, and again, the excuses that they were giving for not putting them on sale make no sense to me. I mean, not going to get into that now, but it just again, it's a long time coming. The only argument I would put up for this is, and I don't know if you were shocked by this, was the cost. So an extra $100, and then I believe the DVC pass was like $70 maybe, or was that $100 also? Because there was one that was only I know the Pixie pass did not go up at all, but there was one that was $70 increase, and then one that was like,
I think the Pirate was a 70, and I believe the Sorcerer and the Incredible were $100 increases.
Right.
So I believe I don't hold me to it, but I believe I paid under that because if you are a returning annual pass holder and you renew, I think there's another discount on top of that. Because I remember paying like $8 something. I'm gonna have to actually look that up. I keep the receipts for it, so I know it's somewhere.
And that the top pass that they have available is $13.99, but that's plus tax. So it's not $13.99. It's $1,400 plus tax. So if you're buying two of them, you're looking at a $3,000 investment.
Yeah.
And again, then it comes down to, and like, I'm not going to go into this really deeply, but it comes down to how often are you going to go?
All right, correct.
So for people like you and I that may only go once or twice a year, is it worth spending $3,000 on an annual
It's
pass?
getting that borderline now.
Yeah, it's getting to the borderline where you may have to go down 3 times a year to make it even worth it for you, to go.
Yeah.
So again, but to stick to the topic, it's I'm glad they brought it back. It was long overdue. There was definitely demand.
Yes.
What's your over under now on how long before this sells out and is no longer available?
Well, the funny thing is, what was it? I don't think it lasted a day. And I seen WDW News Today posted that they already put a pause on the sales of the annual pass. And then I believe within that same day, they reopened them again. So I don't know. Maybe they had such an influx where they crashed. Who knows? I didn't read anything else up on it. That was the one article I did see. So my immediate thought was so many people got on their lovely system, their state of the art, and it just you get the nice picture of like the 7 dwarfs saying like, "Sorry, start again."
Yeah.
But yes, I am very, very happy. I know a lot of people out there. You and I have our feelings about the pass holder, but a lot of people out there, especially people that moved to Florida over the last couple of years, who they were so excited to get an annual pass, and because of the era, what happened a couple of years ago, it was locked up. So congratulations to everyone that got a pass holder. We are very excited for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, the over/under wall, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they have a certain number and then they freeze it again for a while and create that artificial demand.
My prediction is before Labor Day, you'll see a pause again where they'll say that it was sold out.
Yeah.
And then possibly after the holidays, you'll probably maybe January of next year, you'll see it reopen again. Just because they're quote unquote trying to manage the crowds.
Yes, artificial demand.
Yeah, which that's a topic for a whole other show because Disney's always been crowded, and now all of a sudden they're trying to manage crowds. So but let's move on to the next topic we have, which is in your wheelhouse. the announcement that Fort Wilderness is now converting to DVC?
Yeah.
Aren't they?
So I believe it came out, it was either Thursday or Friday, that the cabins at Fort Wilderness Lodge will become DVC, I guess you would say villas.
Hmm.
Walter and I are a little confused. The one article we read is that the way they wrote it, I'm unsure. I think we're both unsure. Are they going to keep the existing cabins and do a total gut refurbishment? Or are they going to replace those cabins? Because the numbers I see are up to 350 cabins at Fort Wilderness. And their
Hmm.
expected opening is sometime in 2024. My opinion is that's going to be late 2024. You got probably a year and a half before that opens up. And then they're going to have to open, points to this. This is going to have to be, I don't see any other way. It has to be a new contract. This is going to be
Yeah.
I believe it is that would become the 17th Disney Vacation Club hotel on Walt Disney World property. So I have never stayed at it, but this is like, is this, let me ask you, Walt, is this Disney's way of bringing DVC to the moderate level? Or is it just based on its location and the cabins have been such a hit over at Wilderness Lodge? Is this the next best thing?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see, because of its location, proximity to Magic Kingdom,
Uh-huh. Boat right away.
that's one of the reasons why I think DVC is trying to expand, like you said, possibly into more of a moderate.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the primary reason for them doing this is the location of that resort to the Magic Kingdom. So
Yes.
they're trying to maximize the real estate value that they have in that area without having to build something
Mm-hmm.
new and invest that way. They're going to expand into something that already exists and maybe transition it into something else. Like you said, the article does, and I believe it's directly from Disney, that it says that they are, sounds like from our interpretation, that they're going to completely build something new, which Kenny and I are kind of doubting because of the timeline of
Mm-hmm.
this and when they, are predicting that it would be ready to go. Sounds more like, to me, it would make sense to just refurb it
That's
to,
what I
like you
think.
said, to a DVC motif slash decor that they're looking for. But we'll see. But if you're DVC, it gives you another option. It from according to the article, they're going to build a pool
Mm-hmm.
and a walking trail.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you a and you could speak better on this than I can, but I would assume that this gives you a different type of DVC vacation, because compared to some of the other DVC resorts, this, you with the walking trail and the kind of the wilderness
Yep. And then you
slash.
have the horse ranch back there, and yep.
Yeah, so it's you're in Disney, but you're
You're not.
having a slightly different experience. So and as we've talked about many times before, it's about the theming.
Yes.
So this is definitely one of those resorts that if you're into that type of theming, it will be immersive in that sense because you're out in the woods basically, in a cabin. So
Yes. And if you look, and we'll put it up on the screen right now, if you compare the picture that Disney has put out, the artist rendering, compared to what they look like now, I, I think they're refurbing it. Well, I mean, I like the picture. I think it looks good. I
mhm,
mean, and it's just an outside picture. You don't know what the inside's going to look like. It is going to. They're stating that it's going to sleep six. You will
yes.
have a kitchen in there, so you're going to have your refrigerator, you're going to have your stove, you're going to have your microwave. So
Mhm.
they are bringing another level of villas and cabins into the DVC world. I can see. I'm torn. Like, I've only been down there for the Pioneer Hall for why is it for the show. I can't think of the name right now. It loses me.
The hoop-de-doo?
Yes, thank you very much. The Hoop-de-Doo
You're
review.
welcome.
So that is the only time I have ever gone down there was for Hoop-de-Doo.
Okay.
I've never seen a cabin up front. I, I'm excited. I think it is completely something different. I'm just curious now on how the contract's going to be, how many points is it going to be to stay there when it opens, and how hard is it going to be to get in there if you are not an owner at Fort Wilderness. I guess they would call it the villas at Fort Wilderness Lodge or the cabins at Fort Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, I
So
can't imagine that they would increase it point wise much more than some of the other ones. I would assume it'd be comparable to some of the other villas. I don't know if you mentioned this, but if you saw, they're actually going to try to accommodate the DVC members with turning Trails End into a food court type of a location for that resort that they're building.
yeah, and I said to you pre-show that makes total sense because what was it? Well over a month or two ago that it came out that Trails End was going to be closing for a refurbishment. And now it totally makes sense with this news coming out that, Trails End closing. They want to redo Trails End to more of, like you said, a food court. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, DVC comes that says, hey, welcome home
Yeah.
to your cabins at Fort Wilderness Lodge. You like that? I went, I'm hoping I'll become a voice actor.
There you go.
for
You just
voice
voiced
actor for
over.
DVC.
You could be on the Room TV. How's that for your
I
future
would love
career?
that.
Yeah.
The guy they have on there, out. I'm in.
Yeah.
But so let me ask you, Walt, before we move on, are pros, cons? Are you liking this, not liking this, or have no opinion at all?
I think it's great for just I'm obviously not a DVC member, but to speak towards the DVC members, I think it's a good option for them. I think it gives them something else that they can look forward to, a different type of vacation.
I agree.
And choices and options are always a good thing. I don't
I
think that's
agree.
a bad thing. I think like you said, it depends on, are they going to now gouge you guys
That's what I'm worried about.
with the points,
Yep.
but as far as like availability, I think another possible reason why they're doing this is because maybe those weren't super popular and they wanted to convert them into something
Become
that will
popular.
generate,
Yes.
become popular and generate more interest, because I think those types of vacations were kind of a niche vacation where certain people were interested, but not everybody really wanted to stay in those cabins.
Yep.
Whereas now you make it a DVC experience where now you're going to build some popularity and some interest into it, possibly with minimal investment on their part
Oh,
in terms
absolutely.
of outlay, because like you said, more than likely they're going to just refurb the existing cabins and not just detonate them and build new ones. So yeah, it'd be part of the fireworks. But yeah, I think it's a good thing for DVC members. I think it's something for them to look forward to.
I agree.
And it's a good place to spend your renewed contract. Or I'm sorry, your renewed annual pass.
There you go.
That everyone just renewed.
So think about this, Walt. Before we move on, we were talking about this too. So they didn't give a date yet, or I have not seen a date yet that any of this would start to go up for sale yet. But currently, if you are in DVC, they have Alani, which is still up for sale. Riviera, still up for sale. The new addition, that repurposed building over at the Grand Floridian, those are now currently for sale. Disneyland Hotel, for sale. And now you're going to have this. You're looking at, did I do the math right? That'd be 5.
Right. And
to some extent, yes.
Right. And you're also leaving out a huge amount of resale that's available online.
Correct.
If you go to the DVC rental store or any of the resale websites that are available, you'll notice there's a ton of inventory available. Now, some of the contracts are getting gobbled up, but some of the larger contracts are sitting for a long period of time, because you're looking at some investments that are in the $20,000 to $30,000 range.
And interest rates have climbed.
Yeah, so folks aren't really, jumping into those. And like you pointed out, you do have quite a bit of actual, direct contracts that are still available. And interestingly, we talked about this before we started taping about Alani, and I had seen an article about Alani on the internet a while ago about how that possibly will be a resort that may never sell out through DVC direct.
I agree with that.
And now there is one of the things that I just read, which is also on another
This is
website,
good.
dvcnews.com, where there is a state of Hawaii transient accommodation tax, which currently stands at 10.25% of your. It's based on your points, and it's a fee based on the resort's annual dues. And my favorite part of this is that it gets added on the back end of your stay, so you really don't know how much you owe in tax until you're ready to check out, and then they whack you with the transient tax. I mean, I guess you could calculate it
Yeah.
possibly beforehand.
Thank you for coming to Hawaii. Now pay us and leave.
But I mean, I like to pay for my vacations and not have to worry about what I'm going to owe at the back end of it.
Yeah.
Other than maybe my room tab.
Exactly.
But that's a hefty price. I mean, 10% is a hefty tax to add on, which I'm, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel, but I think that will keep a lot of folks away from visiting Aulani, no matter how beautiful it may be in Hawaii.
Yeah, and because Hawaii is someplace that is on my bucket list to use my points there one day. But, you have to look at it, us coming from Jersey, you'd have to take at least a 10-day. You're going to lose basically a day of travel there and back. So you're already down to 8 days.
Right.
So, if I'm going out there, I want to experience at least 7 to 10 days. Full days, not 2 of those days being travel. So it looks beautiful. I've known people that have gone out there. They love it. There's still so much to do. I think that's one of the things that we worry about, even with me, not to get off topic, like later this year, I'm going to Vero Beach for the first time. So it is different because you don't have anything else besides, you're in Disney World, you get bored, you go to the park, water park, Disney Springs. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now if I get bored of Vero Beach, I will, still drive the coast. There's plenty to do, but it is different. It's not Disney outside those gates. So,
correct.
But
do you think that the Riviera Resort isn't selling out because of the restriction when you buy direct?
I think so. I think that's I don't know if it's the top factor, but it definitely plays into it. Well, think about it right now. If you or I bought in direct and we sell, you're selling your contract to me. I can only use it at Riviera. And, I don't agree with it. They're doing the same at the Disneyland Tower. So I can only assume that they're going to do this at Fort Wilderness Lodge, excuse me. So this is their new thing. And this is their way to make you buy direct.
Right.
So, and just a real tidbit while we're talking DVC news, because we don't do that a lot. DVC also just lowered their direct points for membership from 150. Oh, I'm sorry, 125 down to 100. So that's another thing. So if they're doing that, Walt, they're hurting.
And that's to get a membership.
That's so before the digital days, there'd be a blue card, full-fledged member. You had to buy direct points. I'm looking it up right now. Here it is. Yeah, 100 points, and it was at. Let me see here. Yep, my first number was correct. It was up as high as 150. They brought it to 150 starting in 2021, and now it has been lowered to 100. So that is a sign that they are not selling direct where they want to be. Because even when I bought in, it was going from 50 to 75 direct to get your blue card.
Okay.
And then it went 75, a buck, $1.25, $1.50. You know what? I think it has to do with, I think also real quick, just to finish this part up, the economy. 150 points somewhere, you're talking tens of thousands, if not $20,000+.
Yeah, you're approaching 20 grand.
Yeah, you're approaching 20 grand. So now maybe I catch Walt at 10,000, So smooth business move, but I think the economy and demand of the product has I think hurt it a little bit. So they had no choice. But
yeah, I agree.
If you want to be a blue card member, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Walt, now for your Toledo review?
Sure. Let's talk about my experience over at Toledo. So let's just to preface this, um, the the show that we had a couple shows ago when Deni Sunderlys was on, she had mentioned that she had dined at Toledo and how she had such a great experience there, which I was definitely influenced by that. And I said, let's give this a try on my next trip. So this recent trip that we just went on, we ended up dining there, and I have to say, it is definitely a restaurant that is now on my list of to go places. We started out with well, first let's talk about the location. It is over at the Grand Destino Tower over at Coronado Springs Resort. And as everyone knows, I mean, the resort itself is a beautiful resort.
Yes, it is.
It is a little bit out of the way. It's more towards the Animal Kingdom area. But it is still worth the trip over there. And especially like Kenny and I always say, just rent a car, you can get over there.
Yes.
It is on the top floor of the Grand Destino Tower. You have beautiful floor to ceiling windows, great views. The only thing I'll say is it's similar to California Grill in the sense of, but you're not having a view of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
You don't see the castle. You don't see Space Mountain. It's definitely a different atmosphere. It's still beautiful to look at. You can see Tower of Terror in the distance. And we were not there late enough to catch any fireworks viewing. But I would assume that you could possibly see that from there as well. We started out with an appetizer, which was the Spaniard for two. The Spaniard for two is a charcuterie board. It is a enormous charcuterie board. It is also a hefty price tag that comes with it.
$35.
It is correct. It is a $35 appetizer. Now it says that it's for multiple people. I guess you could say 3 or 4 people. I found it. My wife and I polished it off, and we felt like
bye.
For 2 people, I think it's
good,
more than enough. Yeah.
3 is pushing it.
Yeah, 3's pushing it. I mean, I listen. If you're going to just nibble at a few things, you could stretch it out. But if you're just looking for like a normal appetizer.
So, Walt, let me ask you: the Spaniard for 2, would you do it again?
I honestly, I don't know. I might try something else there. There was another appetizer on the menu that looked interesting. I think this might be for me a one-off. Again, it was delicious.
A little steep.
It's steep. There's a 6-month aged Manchego cheese. Comes with sourdough bread. There's a goat cheese, a blue cheese. There's a jamon serrano, which is a jamon iberico, which is 2 different hams. And there's a chorizo. It comes with 4 kinds of olives, a fig jam. The fig jam is delicious. Some dried apricots, which I could do without, and the house-made pickles, which were also pretty good. All in all, I would say it's a thumbs up if you're going there for the first time. I would definitely recommend you try it. Going back again a second time, I probably would try something else. Unless I was going with, say, for example, a group of people, then I would probably try to get it again.
So let me ask you a question before we get to your entrees. I don't think it's comparable, but I'm going to ask anyway. Baseline Tap House charcuterie versus Toledo.
Well, yeah, it's totally different in terms of the quantity for sure. But I will say this: I understand your point. It is still by far the best value charcuterie board, and it's just a matter of time before they change that. Because if anybody watches our show and hears about this, they're going to realize that we should definitely double the price of that charcuterie board.
Whoa! Well, I'm editing that out.
It's obviously a much smaller portion,
Yeah,
size, but in proportion to what you're getting and the value of it, I guess it's a matter of taste.
Yeah.
there could be folks that will get this Spaniard and say, "Hey, $35 is not bad for the amount that you're getting."
It was plated well.
Um,
I saw pictures.
it is
Yes.
it's beautiful.
Yep.
It's plated very well. So it's a matter of personal taste. Like you and I, we love baseline, as you can tell,
Yep.
because I'm wearing the baseline shirt. Uh,
I have one.
but
When I lose some more weight, I'll be showing it off.
but all in all, I think I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Moving on to the entrees. So my wife had the scallops. That comes with a veggie puree, olives, and roasted carrots. The price on that was $35. I had, as recommended to me by Denny, the filet, which is in a olive oil potato puree with forest mushrooms. That was 38, and I added on as a side the Brussels sprouts, which I'm a huge Brussels sprout
So
fan.
am I.
And that was an extra $8 that I added on
Were
to
they
that.
charred up? Were the Brussels sprouts charred up?
Yeah, yes,
Oh,
they were charred up. They were
nice.
delicious. And so the fillet, I got to tell you, the fillet was very, very good. Compared to Le Cellier, which is always our our comparison level. I would say that if Le Cellier is a 10, then this might be either an 8.5 or a 9.
Wow.
It's very, very close.
Nice.
Again, it's a matter of, like, I personally love the risotto at Le Cellier, but the potato puree and the forest mushrooms were very, very good. And again, it's about price point. So right now you're looking at a $60 fillet.
Yeah.
I think it's $62 now.
Yes, I think it was 62 in January.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's 62 because I went. That was actually
Oh.
my last dining experience on this last trip. And when you're looking at a $62 fillet versus a $38 fillet, when you take into account the restaurant atmosphere and the food quality, this is a slam dunk. It's a no brainer. I would, if you're in the mood for a great steak, and I would say if you have a choice between an ADR at Le Cellier versus here, I would go here first for two reasons.
Wow.
First, I would you don't need a park pass, so you don't need to have an annual pass to get in.
Nope.
And then the other reason is just because I think that it's a different atmosphere. We used to like Le Cellier because of the atmosphere, and that's kind of waned a little bit because it is so crowded and loud in there at times. The seating, where you're basically like an arm's length away from another person having dinner, unless you're a large party. And I'll touch on that briefly coming up on. I just want to hit one more thing here on this review. We also had the crema catalana dessert, which is a kind of like I guess like a creme brulee, you would call it. That was $8. That was very good also. The overall experience, I would say, is a thumbs up. I would definitely go back. Like I said earlier, I would definitely put this on my to-go restaurant list. The only downside to it, when it's a very, very minimal downside, kind of, even I would be nitpicking about this, but it is, again, my pet peeve with dining, especially at Disney, is how crammed you are. And where we ended up sitting was in like a booth type of a situation, and you are still very close to the other guests. If we had been at a table, say closer to a window, and I could give you a comparison, if you've ever dined at Narcoossee's, if you have a window table, you don't feel as clustered together.
I gotcha.
If you're at a table further into the restaurant, you might be right next to someone else. So it's kind of like that, where that's really my only.
I have a quick question
downside
for
to
you,
it.
Walt.
Sure,
Is
sure.
so basically what you're describing is, because like in Le Cellier, you had that, especially when you get punished when you're a couple.
Yes, you do.
Because you literally, they jam you. So is it basically the same kind of jamming for two at Toledo?
It's not as bad at Toledo as
But
it
it's still
is at
tight.
Le Cellier, but it's
Still
still
tight.
it's still tighter than I would like it to be
Yes.
for a party of two. You're still very, very close. If you're just having a conversation with your, the person you're dining with, it's tough to have a conversation where the other person, which literally, if you stretch your arm out,
Yes.
they're that close to you.
Like gym class.
So yeah, I mean, so that's again,
I don't like that either.
You have to take that into account when you're dining at Disney, but that is a downside to those types of restaurants. Unfortunately, you have that experience pretty much all the time at Epcot restaurants.
Okay.
Because no matter what Epcot restaurant you're dining at, you're going to be jammed in there.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping that this wouldn't be the same. But unfortunately, where we sat, it was. It could have been slightly different if we had sat closer to a window, perhaps. But there are restaurants like Citrico's where I don't feel that way. And a few other ones that we dine at that, even Urkusi's when it was open, I believe it's open again now, but those restaurants don't seem as tight. And it takes away a little bit from the dining experience overall, in my opinion. But again, if you're a party of 4 or more, then you may not feel that way because you're going to be sat differently. You're going to be sat at a larger table.
So yeah, before we wrap this segment up, that's good to know, Walt, because my next trip right now, we'll get into. I have something coming up in July. We'll get into that because we got something to talk about with you first at the end. I'm excited because my go-to fillet right now, if it's not Le Cellier, is Steakhouse 71. Because I believe it's roughly $32, $36 over there. It's somewhere in that ballpark. And it is good. If I can't get Le Cellier, and I love Steakhouse 71, I liked it as the wave. What I like about, not to get off topic, but why I like Steakhouse 71, you do have a lot of room there. You're not right on everybody. So that is my second favorite filet on property. So now I got to check out Toledo because I just saw from the pictures you showed me the decor, the way they plated their food, and how you described it. I'm always looking for another place to add to the list because some people say, well, when you go down there, you eat the same thing. And I'm like, well, number one, if we go 3 times a year. So I get to eat at that restaurant 3 times a year. It's not like I'm going there every weekend. So when you find those nice meals, you want to take advantage of being down there and, get something that you don't normally get here on the weekends, or, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. And the thing is with what you just said is that I just had that experience recently on this vacation where we could blow that argument out of the water because the people who say, oh, well, you eat at the same restaurants. Well, I ate at a few places that I hadn't eaten before, and they were a disaster. And I look back and I say to myself, why, as you would say, why am I self-inflicting pain when I could easily have eaten at a place that I know I'm going to have a good meal? And this is like you just said, you go to your favorite restaurants because you know you're going to have a good meal. I'm actually just looked it up. So, because the 6-ounce filet at Steakhouse 71 is currently $38.
Okay.
So yeah, because you said 32, and I was like, you ain't getting a steak at Disney for $32, nowhere.
I brought my DVC card.
Maybe at a food court, but that's about it. Yeah, no, 38 is still a very good price, and it's in line with. Because see, here's the thing: if you notice, that seems to be the baseline for fillets, because that is exactly the same price at Toledo. So Steakhouse 71, you're getting a 6-ounce for $38, and at Toledo, it's the same price. I think the Disney has basically set a floor on the pricing of their steaks, and $38 right now is the cheapest probably on property. I can't say 100% for sure, but I would be willing to bet that $38 is the cheapest fillet.
Yeah, and for a restaurant they owned. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, correct.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the franchise steakhouse, but anything on property, that's probably the baseline.
But yeah, so Walter brought it up. That's a little teaser in a future episode. We're going to have some discussions about some not some good places that you should avoid.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we are. So we're let's gonna move on here to my next review,
Mm-hmm.
which is a place that had just recently opened the week that I was down there. That was Woody's Roundup Barbecue. And Woody's Roundup Barbecue was right in around what I thought it was going to be. If you go back a couple of months ago when Kenny and I brought this up, when they first announced that they were going to open, I believe that I stated that this was going to be very similar affair to Hoop-de-Doo
Mm-hmm.
Review and some of those other type of barbecue type places on property. Um, I was slightly wrong. Hoop-de-Doo Review actually has got better food. But I will say this: the decor in the place
Yeah.
is phenomenal. It's really really well done. They did a great job. So you start out your meal with the cheddar biscuits. They come out with it's a sweet peppered jelly. Um, some folks have now again, this has been reviewed a multitude of times by a lot of other food bloggers. So I'm not adding anything new to this, but it's just my take on
Yep.
it and my opinion on it. I've seen people compare the cheddar biscuits to the biscuits that you get at
Red Lobster.
Thank you, Red Lobster. I got to tell you, Red Lobster's still better.
Nice.
These are pretty good. But there's not enough cheddar on them, in my opinion.
Okay.
They're not as flaky as Red Lobster's cheddar, biscuits are. Um, Disney standard, I guess they're pretty good. The next thing that comes out is the salads. Now, the salads have been panned by a few people, and I got to put myself on that list. There's a tomato salad, a kale salad, and a watermelon salad. Now I don't know about you, Ken, but I don't like my fruit with as an appetizer. The
I'm the same way.
watermelon, yeah, I mean the watermelon salad is
Okay.
delicious, but I that for me would be a dessert, not or an after meal
Yeah.
thing
For
that I
you.
would
Okay.
have, I'm not a watermelon
And there are
salad
a lot of
person
people
per
that
se.
are, but I'm with you. I am not.
Yeah, yeah. And then the kale salad was just terrible.
Hmm.
I wouldn't recommend that. And the tomato salad was pretty good. I don't particularly like my tomatoes sliced in like wedges,
Okay.
the way they cut it. I do love cherry tomatoes. If they had just stuck to cherry tomatoes and onions and cucumbers, that would have been fine. But they literally took a regular sized tomato and cut it into like wedges, similar to like say an orange. And to me, it's just a little too much on that. The entrees that came out then after that, which is your ribs, your sausage, your barbecue chicken, and your brisket. The ribs, now they have sauces on the table
Mm-hmm.
that they have so that you could put whatever sauce you want, whether you want it hot or mild. They have a few sauces on the table. Personally, I don't know about you, but I like my ribs already slathered in sauce when they come out.
I agree.
Um, these I felt were a little bit too dry,
Mm-hmm.
not enough. I mean, not enough to even get your fingers dirty. You know how dirty you get your
Yes.
fingers with, with ribs. So that was a downside. The ribs were okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it needed a lot more sauce. The sausage was very good.
Good. It did
The
look good.
barbecue, yeah, the sausage was very good. The barbecue chicken I didn't have. My wife had it. She said it was pretty good.
Okay.
The brisket, the first initial brisket that came out was a little fatty. I asked them to bring out some more, and then the second round of brisket was much better.
Okay. Good.
So I could have just gotten a bad, a little fattier cut.
Bad batch.
It's obviously a fatty meat to begin
Yes.
with, but this one had a little bit too much on it. Um, the sides we ordered were the fried pickles, the veggie slaw, the spuds, and the mac and cheese. So the fried pickles were okay. I didn't think there was enough of a taste to them. They just kind of bland, in my opinion. The veggie slaw was not chopped up enough for me. It's I like my veggie slaw, like a coleslaw,
Yeah.
and this was a little bit too thick. The spuds were delicious, but again, they're tater tots, so you can't really screw up tater
I do
tots.
love tater tots.
They had a sauce on them that was very good. Unfortunately, I don't off the top of my head remember what it was that was in there, but the sauce on it was very good. The mac and cheese left a lot to be desired. A lot to be desired.
That's disappointing.
I've seen people rave about the mac and cheese. Perhaps they got a better batch than I did. That could be. But the mac and cheese was so dry. They sprinkle goldfish on top of the mac and cheese, so the goldfish literally act as like a sponge, and they absorb whatever cheese is on there. And by the time that we got through our meal, we actually stuck a fork in the mac and cheese, and then it was just the fork was like concrete. It was
congealed.
So yeah, it was congealed. So it was very, very it wasn't like the kind of mac and cheese that I would expect them to have.
Yeah.
It's just that was one of the things between that and the tater tots that I was hoping would be home runs.
Yeah.
One kind of fell short. The desserts, we had the lemon and blueberry cheesecake, which were very good. But the one thing that left me scratching my head on that was everything else is all you can eat, but the dessert is not. So the dessert, you can only pick one. I thought that they were going to come out with these little.
That's a little cheap.
Yeah, I mean, for what you're paying,
yes,
I would think that they would come out with like small little samples of everything that they have.
Yeah.
Like give you like a little cup of something, so you could try all of them, like a sampler type of a situation.
Yeah.
Whereas not like, oh, just choose one. That's all you're getting. The drinks were outstanding.
Good.
So if you're having alcoholic drinks there, my wife had the Rattler rum punch, which was fabulous. She loved it. And I had the Snake Eye Margarita, which was also excellent. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those. Their bar obviously does a good job with the drinks. My overall, for the price point that you're paying for this, I don't think it's worth it. In my opinion, it's to me, it's a one and done for me. I think if you have kids, you're going to maybe want to go there just so that they can experience it. But I think that I put this in the same category as Be Our Guest, although I much more enjoy the food at Be Our Guest than I did here. I think it's one of those where it's about the atmosphere of the restaurant, and it's catered towards kids. And themed towards kids. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. But would I make that a go-to place like every time I go there? The answer is no. I would not. I wouldn't go. I would personally, I wouldn't go back because I just don't think that there's a value in the amount that you're paying and what you're getting. I mean, the food is
average.
Is average at best. And I'm hoping that they change that. I'm hoping that once they maybe get some kinks out of this and maybe can spruce up some of the the salads and maybe some of the meats that they're bringing out. But the cast members are phenomenal. Everybody's into it. They have Andy pop in every once in a while, and everybody kind of freezes. So that the theming itself and the cast members, 100% phenomenal, and I would definitely recommend it just on that alone to go there to just try it once. But as a as a place that I would say every time I go to Hollywood Studios, I'm going to make a point of going to Woody's Roundup. The answer is going to be no, I wouldn't.
So I got two questions for you before we wrap.
Sure.
First, just a little add on a little bit. So every time, I think it's spaced out 15, 20 minutes watching other people review it as well. You said the voice comes in over, I guess, the speakers that Andy is now is going to be entering the room, right?
Correct.
And I think even the workers Also, everyone stops and everyone is not supposed to talk or move while Andy is on the intercom, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's
Yes.
cool. I like that. That is a nice touch to it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And then there's also, I believe it's the Sarge comes on.
Yes, I heard that one
and
too.
does a roll call for there's a yard sale that's going on. So he wants to make sure that no one's stuck in the yard sale, I guess. So that's also fun. Like I said, the theming is excellent.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the food is not.
But it's not, Walt, something we thought was going to be a knockout of the park. And I think everyone who had clear mind was thinking most of these places on property are average food at best.
But it could be better.
But it could and it should be better.
And it should be better.
Yeah.
Especially for a brand new restaurant, it should be better.
Yeah.
What's the restaurant in Magic Kingdom? The Crystal
Palace?
Yeah. The Crystal Palace. Okay, so the Crystal Palace is a buffet style a place, and I personally think that is actually better than this.
Okay.
And I understand the fare is different, but I'm just talking overall quality of food versus the price point of what you're paying. This definitely because even if you went there and you said, hey, listen, I'm going to just chow down on the meats and I'm just going to keep telling them to bring me more ribs and more sausage. Even then, it's just still not, everything else is just not
enough
for me. Not enough, because if you're looking at what you're paying per person, and I believe that the children are, I think it's only like $10 less than what the adults are.
Yeah.
So you're looking at it's going to add up, and that's assuming you don't have any alcohol.
Yeah.
So if you're just going to have soda or water, that's fine. But if you're throwing the alcohol into it now, those drinks my wife and I had were like $15 a piece.
Yeah.
So the drinks are almost as much as your tab for your food. So
yeah, that's
it gets and again, and you also have to say to yourself, where am I?
Yes.
You're in Hollywood Studios where you're potentially going to be there all day and you're going to be going on rides. And as you say, do I want to stuff myself at Woody's Roundup Barbecue and then go on Slinky Dog or go on, some other, on Terra?
Yeah. Oh, no. Nope, I'm good.
No. Yeah, so,
One other thing I thought, real quick, because I know we got to wrap to our last segment. What I thought was really cool was when they brought the check out to you and they gave you a life-size pencil to sign. That was cool, and we'll put that up on the screen.
Yeah, it's a gigantic pencil that you get. That's a hoot. People were getting a really kick out.
That's
of that.
Cool.
Yeah, it is. It definitely was.
So, now it's up to you folks whether you want to. It's probably one of those one and done. Go do it, experience it, and move on.
Yep.
So, all right, folks, this is going to bring us to our last. And we all know you've been waiting for it. Walter, on his recent trip to Walt Disney World, did a on-site review of Karamell Kuche, located over in the Germany Pavilion, with a lot of sweet treats. Some of them, if not all of them, we talked about with Miss Deni Sunderlys a couple episodes ago. So before we put that up on the screen for you, Walt, is there anything you want to say before we put it up for everybody?
Just that I really it was so much fun doing this. Deni was outstanding. As just it was a pleasure to meet her, pleasure to do this review, and I had been looking forward to it for quite a while, and it was just outstanding. She was super professional, as you will see, and basically carried the rookie myself through this entire process. So I just want to give her, just thank her from the bottom of my heart for everything that she did, and she was outstanding during this during the whole thing. So
all right,
I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're going to put that up on the screen right now. Walter and Deni's review of Karamell Kuche.
Okay, so this is my second time having the pretzel bread pudding. I know from experience, it's amazing. I mean, what is not to love by what we have going on here? It is a masterpiece. confectioner sugar, you have wonderful vanilla glaze, you have your caramel glaze, and then the actual bread pudding made of pretzel. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with this. So you take the bite, you get it in all that wonderful ooey gooiness. Big bite. Here we go.
How was it?
Oh.
Thumbs up?
It's soft. It's so, I mean, a pretzel, the pretzel, that bread pudding, you want that to soak up the creme anglaise. It has done that beautifully here. It is delicious. It's somewhat toasty on the top, not too toasty. It's just soft and gooey and warm and sweet and perfect, in my opinion. Well, we really hope it's delicious. I've never had it before. This is the Werther's Butter Bar. This is Patricia, the wonderful cast member that helped us in Karamell Kuche, said, you want the most popular thing, you get the butter bar. So Walter said, we're getting the butter bar. And here it is. All right. Do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. And we'll each have a chunk. I'm going to chop it into quarters here. It's layers of caramel and shortbread, I believe, is what we've got going on here.
Very, very good. Creamy. Oh, delicious. You can actually, the caramel in there is amazing. It really is everything that they say it is.
Okay, so the very first thing when I pick it up, and I didn't know what to expect, but it is soft. Okay, so it's a nice soft treat. Here we go. You can tell there's a lot of butter going on. Holy cow. There is so much butter going on in this treat. It almost begins to melt in your mouth. You put the first bite in, and it begins to dissolve. Like, oh my gosh, that's good. Sweet, very, very sweet. So I don't know if you want to share it or if you have a couple of sweet teeth in your mouth, which you do you. But yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. Here we go. Oh, you messy thing, you. I can tell already. Oh my gosh. It doesn't want to give up. It's so good. Creamy. Slightly butterscotch? Question mark? So good. Interesting. Yes. A hint of butterscotch there on the end as well. Very interesting to try it after having the chocolate enrobed caramel for so long, to have it without chocolate on it. It's good. It's softer than what you've got with the chocolate enrobed caramel. I don't know that I don't know. I'm not going to go back because I'm a chocolate fan. I don't know that I'm going straight back for that one.
Okay.
It's so much fun to try it.
Let me give it a shot.
Right. What about you?
Let me give it a shot. All right. Let's see if I can. Wow, you're not kidding. The texture on this is definitely different from your sea salt caramel. It's not as chewy, but I agree with you. I would not go back for that versus this one here. Definitely much better on the dark chocolate than on this one. It's good, but if I had to choose between the two, I would go with this one for sure.
I'm gonna grab my little piece.
Okay, now this is the dark chocolate.
This is I think this is milk chocolate cocoa. But look at the chocolate caramel on that. Holy smokes. Here we go. Oh my God. Chocolate for days. So good. Yeah, I love that. Definitely a lighter flavor profile than the dark chocolate because of course, but with the inclusion of the chocolate caramel, that's just an extra layer of just over the top chocolate. And it's really, really good. And of course it's got that little bit of sea salt on the top that hits your palate there toward the back end. And oh, that's lovely. Walt, your turn. Oh.
Let's give this a try. Sorry. You're absolutely right. This is just loaded with chocolate, and the sea salt really, really comes out on this. Delicious. But very, very rich as well. I would say that between these two, between the Denny's favorite here, the caramel, I would go with the caramel over the chocolate. Chocolate's delicious, but the caramel so far is definitely my favorite. This caramel apple oatmeal. Give this a try. Not really tasting the apple in this. Definitely the caramel and the oatmeal. It's very chewy, very good, very sweet. But yeah, I think I just hit a little bit of apple, but it's very, very subtle on the apple. You can barely taste the apple on this. And very crunchy texture to it. Very good though.
Okay, this just looks, by looks alone, she's a pretty cookie, right? Like chunks of pecans, chunks of dried apple. Very intriguing. But I hear what you're saying there, Walt, and I'm a little concerned. Slight apple. I mean, it's there. It's not as apple focused as I would like it to be. If we're going to have apple in the name, let's really do apple. I love oatmeal cookies personally. So you want that hearty warmth from the oatmeal cookie itself. That's there, I feel like. With the apple, I agree with you. Just misses. Just a little bit. Or a lot.
A lot,
I think
yeah.
a lot.
All right. So I'm going to dig into the chocolate caramel cookie sandwich. And let's try get some caramel in here and some chocolate. Could definitely taste the caramel and the chocolate. Cream could use a little bit more cream. Maybe I just didn't get it in the middle here. It's very rich. The chocolate's not very dense. You could really, the caramel kind of overpowers the chocolate a little bit. And if you get it more in the center, you're going to get more cream out of it. Very good. I would definitely recommend this. I'll have to try the gingerbread cookie next, but this is right up there.
Gosh. What is that? Moon pie? Is that what you're thinking of?
All right, let's give this a try.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Look at that. And it's moist. You can tell because it's sticking to my fingers already. Here we go. Bottoms up. Mmm. Fudgy, cool and creamy. Not as fudgy as I would like it to be. So I hear what you're saying, Walt, and I concur. Sweet. I'm just hit, like my taste buds are like, any more sweet, lady? What are you doing? Yeah, super sweet, but really very tasty. It is very it's that buttercream. That's the thing that comes to the front. Yes, you can taste the caramel. I'm going to get a fork here and just swipe some of this caramel. Yeah, that's good. That's delicious. Yes, this has quickly gone to the top of the pile. Now, like you said, Walt, we've not had that gingerbread cookie sandwich yet today. So we need to have that. But this one is quite good. It's messy, like if you pick it up and eat it like I am, but it's really rewarding.
So we're going to dig into the gingerbread cookie here. Kenny, this is your favorite. You're going to be jealous now. Let's take a look here. Looks delicious. Very thick and creamy there. Let's take a bite. I can see why this is your favorite. Very, very rich and creamy. The gingerbread cookie really stands out. It's very, very good. But very rich. And as Deni said earlier, I don't know if I could finish this in one sitting. This might be half to take home later because this is very, very filling, but delicious. Awesome. Excellent choice. I would say right now, this might be at the top of the list.
Okay. Yeah, that's, at first when I laid eyes on this cookie, I thought, oh no, it looks like there isn't as much icing as there used to be. And then you cut it and you go, no, it's fine. There's plenty of icing there. Here we go. That gingerbread icing, the filling, buttercream, amazing. Sweet because the day is long and amazing. So soft gingerbread cookies. It is it's the holidays. It's a snack. I'm overwhelmed by how soft it is right now. Like that's in a good way. This is a lovely thing. The first time I had this cookie, it was at night. It was during the holidays. So you're hearing the music here in Epcot. You're feeling all the feels. It's a little bit cooler. This is available on mobile order through My Disney Experience. So I mobile ordered the cookies. So you just breeze into Karamell Kuche and you pick up your order, and it's so idyllic. It was lovely. This is just as lovely. It's lingering, just the sweetness is lingering. There's a little bit of those fall spices that you want with the gingerbread going on as well. It's almost like childhood as well. It feels a little bit like nostalgic. So, it's incredible. So number one for me is going to be that gingerbread cookie sandwich. It's beloved for a reason. It is everything that you want. And I still have that, I like that taste. You want certain tastes lingering in your mouth. I'm okay with that being the last thing that I ate today. Like, that is so good. And completely, as I said earlier, it's the holidays and,
Yes.
and a cookie, and probably not something that I'm going to finish in one fell swoop. So
No.
it'll make that money stretch even further.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that's something that you could definitely bring home with you. This was fabulous, and thank you so much for joining us here on the Disney Resorts podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
So much fun.
Thank you again.
All right, folks. That is Deni and Walter's review of Karamell Kuche, located in the Germany Pavilion. And we can't thank Deni enough for, like Walter said, doing this with us, helping us out, coming on a past show, and we look forward to continuing to do stuff with her in the future. And if you haven't already, check out her YouTube page at Deni_Sunderly over on YouTube. Before we wrap, Walt, anything else you want to give? Any takes on your?
No, just that, like I said earlier, we had my wife and I had a lot of fun doing it, and it speaks for itself. The desserts are delicious there. I would highly recommend if you're in Epcot to stop over at Karamell Kuche, preferably on a lesser, hotter day than the one I was there for, because you will definitely enjoy those desserts. And just to wrap up here, we are going to be doing in our next episode, part 2 of my recent trip. We have some interesting topics we're going to hit on. We're going to discuss and possibly put up a video of Pop Century and a little bit of a review of that resort. The Genie Plus and Lightning Lane comments and costs, the ideas and thoughts I have on that. We also have a few other dining experiences, St. Angel Inn, Chef Art Smith's, and then we have a video of a watering hole that's everyone's favorite and super difficult to get into at times. Trader Sam's over at the Polynesian. And then just another shout out, which we can never do enough shout outs to Baseline Tap House. And I think that's going to be it for that. Anything else you want to discuss?
No,
Ken?
I'm good. I can't wait. I'm glad to be back. This was a great show, and I look forward to the next one because we still got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
So, all right, folks, that's going to wrap up this edition of the Disney Resorts podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. For Walt Ramirez, I'm Kenny Hayes. Take care, everybody.